My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the director of music. I'm going to invite you to look in your order of service at the words for Give Thanks that the choir is going to sing. We'll sing 2 verses. On our 3rd verse, we're going to invite you to join in the words that you'll hear. Give thanks, then give praise, and there will never ever be another day. The choir will sing, and then you come in. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks for all that is. Give praise. Give praise. Give praise. Give praise. Give praise. Give praise for all that is. There will never ever be another day just like this day, so let's give praise now. Next, I'd like to invite our junior choir forward.
luck following that, Diane.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much to the Sanctuary Singers and the Junior Choir. That was just incredible. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington. My name is Diane Williams, and my pronouns are she, her. I am grateful to hold a leadership position as a member of our nominating committee, and I'll say a bit more about that in a moment. At UUCA, we are a people of all backgrounds, races, sexual orientations, genders, and disabilities and abilities, both seen and unseen. We come for community, find inspiration, and live with purpose. Today is Sunday, November 24th, and whether this is your first time in worshiping with us or your regular Sunday routine, we are very glad you're here. And now for a few announcements. Beginning next Sunday, December 1st, and for the entire month of December, we will have only one single Sunday service at 10:15 a.m. This is to accommodate for several long and/or pre-holiday weekends in the month of December. One service again in the month of December, 10:15. 1 week from today, on Sunday, December 1st, we will have a Buy Nothing holiday gift and decor swap. Please see the folks at the Buy Nothing Christmas table in Fellowship Hall for more information after this service. Do you love our religious education staff? So do we. Mark your calendars and get ready for Giving Tuesday on December 3rd as we work together to raise funds for iPads to empower our RE staff, RE for religious education, with engaging tech-forward teaching tools. Want to learn more or make a donation? Please swing by the Giving Tuesday table in Fellowship Hall, again after the service. RE Program Assistant Christina Kennard will be there to answer your questions and help you support our RE staff in this meaningful way. And for all of these types of activities and more, please stay connected to our UUCA Facebook page, our Connections e-newsletter, and emails, and also the order of service each week to stay up to date on these and many other UUCA activities. And now I'm welcoming up my colleagues on the nominating committee. I'd like to introduce you to the nominating committee for this current year. As I mentioned, I am Diane Williams, and I'd like to introduce you to Nancy Hyde, Ron Teeter, and Barbara Laughlin. The purpose of the NomCom, as we call ourselves for short, is to help identify and nominate the future leaders of UUCA. During the first half of each calendar year, the NomCom seeks, considers, interviews, and nominates those who may serve as board members, General Assembly delegates, or members of the nominating committee. Communications and suggestions from the congregation are always welcome. You will be hearing much more about the work of the NomCom beginning in January. In the meantime, we are so happy to let you know who we are and what we are going to be up to in the new year. Thank you very much.
Diane, thank you so much for that welcome. Nominating committee members, thank you for your service and for being here en masse for the beginning of both services. And I just want to give a shout out to the teen group in the back, hi y'all, who are prepared to sell you pie. Some of which they have made themselves, some of which they are making available to you, and it will taste even better because it passed through their hands on your way. So I encourage you after service to stop by for a piece of pie or to pick up a pie to take home for your holidays or like yourself for dinner tonight. So Hey to the teen group, and hey to all of you. I'm Reverend Amanda Poppy. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm honored to serve as senior minister here at UUCA. And I'm really delighted to be joined this morning on the worship team by Tommy Lowe, our worship associate, by David Mann, our director of music, who's leading the Sanctuary Singers, by the Sanctuary Singers, by the amazing junior choir that has already shared their beautiful piece with us that made me want to jump and also maybe sleep and definitely sing. And by our ushers and our greeters and our RE staff and our cup washers and our tech crew, Art and Cameron are on the back today. And by all of you. The choir this morning sang to us, reminding us that there will never be another day just like this day, and there will never be another gathering exactly like this gathering with exactly these people. So I want to invite you to turn toward each other in this moment, to say hello, especially to someone you don't know, to be church together. Hi, Teague. It is good to be together, friends. I invite you to find your way back to your seats. Or if you met someone that you really like talking to, you can go ahead and change your seat. At the 9:15, this is my favorite church story of today. At the 9:15 service, 2 first-time visitors came in and saw each other across the pews. They were friends and haven't seen each other for 15 years. And they reconnected. I saw them hugging during one part of the service, and I thought, well, that's nice to hug a newcomer. I go, enthusiastic consent, but in fact, they were longtime friends. So hearts for that story, and may we all be meeting new friends and reconnecting with old ones this morning. It is good every Sunday to be together and to gather. This morning, we will be hearing and telling stories that are true and ones that need more truth-telling, ones that we are continuing to learn how to tell. I was thinking about our theme of healing through story and thinking about all that we are carrying these days on our hearts, all that brings us together this morning. And I share with you these words from my colleague, Reverend Angela Herrera, who serves our congregation in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Don't leave your broken heart at the door. Bring it to the altar of life. Don't leave your anger behind. It has high standards, and the world needs vision. Bring them with you, and your joy, and your passion. Bring your loving, and your courage, and your conviction. bring your need for healing and your power to heal. There is work to do, and you have all that you need to do it right here in this room. Let us worship together.
Morning. Each Sunday, we light a candle of compassion in honor of those who are suffering around the world, across our country, and right here in our own community. Today, we recognize Transgender Day of Remembrance, which was this past week, and honors the memory of the transgender people whose lives have been lost through acts of anti-transgender violence. At this time of year, we also hold space for those who find themselves alone. While the holidays can certainly bring joy to many, they can also amplify feelings of loneliness and depression for many others. Many of us find ourselves disconnected in the darkness of loss and painful memories of better times past. There is the pain of physical loneliness when we lose loved ones. We miss their presence, we miss their voice, and we miss their small acts of love. And there's also the pain of mental and emotional loneliness when we feel lost, unseen, unheard, or misunderstood. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to share my own story of loneliness. I can tell you the exact date, moment, and place where I experienced the most devastating loneliness of my life. On December 22nd, 6 years ago, sitting at our breakfast table, surrounded by my loving wife and my beautiful children, we were celebrating my birthday. On the surface, it looked like the most beautiful, wonderful moment, and I should have been happy, but inside I was devastated, cold, and lonely. So not everything is as it seems, so please be kind to others. May our candle of compassion be the beacon that brings light to the hearts of many who are lonely or who suffer from anti-transgender hate. And now we light our chalice. The words are in your order of service. I'll read the first part and we'll read the second part together. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life and its infinite possibilities for love. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world.
I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join in hymn number 1010 in your teal hymnal, We Give Thanks. After the 9:15 service, one of the choir members came up to me and shared a story of having been asked recently to offer grace at the beginning of an extended family meal, perhaps like some of the meals we'll be having in the week to come. He said that in that moment, he wasn't quite sure what to say, and suddenly the words of this hymn, which had also been spoken as a prayer by another minister many years ago at this congregation, the words of this hymn came to him as a table grace. So, pro tip, if in the coming days you have a moment where you are asked to say grace for those gathered, see if you can bring your mind back to the words that we sang together. The coming days this week as we move next week into the celebration of Thanksgiving, whatever that might mean for your family or for you in this year. I know that I have, for many years, heard the story of Thanksgiving, and in particular, the story of the first Thanksgiving. I wonder if some of you have heard that story as well, if you were perhaps taught that story in school. Anyone? It was everyone at 9:15, so I'm not sure, but anyway. Perhaps you were taught the story of the first Thanksgiving in what was not yet the United States. I wonder, especially those of us who were taught that story, thanks so much, Tommy, those of us who were taught that story, more than a decade ago, maybe more than 2 decades ago, maybe even more than that. What were the elements of that story that we were taught? Pilgrims, the pilgrims were there. What were the pilgrims doing? Starving originally, yes, correct. And then by the time they got to that first Thanksgiving that we hear about in the story, they were having a feast. That's right, they were having a feast that celebrated peace with the local Native Americans, or depending on what generation you were raised in, different language used for the indigenous people originally in this country. They were having a feast with, as the story goes, They were having a feast with the Wampanoag people, and indeed the story tells us that it was not just any feast, but a particular feast in 1621, very specific to know the date of that feast. Now, maybe you were taught that story some decades ago, or even now in school, and maybe, I'll invite you to raise your hands again, maybe you have heard some other versions of that story, some other knowledge about what might have been happening at that time. We know when we tell that old story of the first Thanksgiving, a story that was created some couple hundred years after 1621, we know that we are telling only part, if that, of the truer story. We know that behind and around and in that old story is a true story that holds some scars. A story that holds the truth of the loss of 3/4 of the Wampanoag people to disease brought by European colonizers. A story that holds the interactions between colonizers and indigenous people, devastating indigenous people, 80 to 95% of those here at the time of colonization having been lost to violence, disease, and conflict. Most of this story with scars, was written in the centuries later, and in fact made into a national holiday in 1863 by President Abraham Lincoln during the American Civil War. Lincoln chose to create the holiday right after the Dakota War of 1862, during which federal agents executed 38 Dakota men. The creation of the holiday was meant to build bridges between the Native people and the federal government. But you can't bridge, you can't heal when you're telling a story that isn't really true, a story that holds scars. When we tell untrue stories, or stories that aren't the whole truth, we miss the chance to understand our own history more deeply. A history here in the United States that holds violence and racism from its very beginning, just the way it also holds a dream of a place to practice religious freedom, just the way it also holds a dream of people from many countries coming together. But when we tell only part of the story, when we skip the hard parts, the scars, we're less able to learn from that story. And we know now the ways that those hard parts, the ways that racism continues to play out in the United States, the way the scars of our old stories are still scars and even open wounds today. What do we do, then, with the stories that have scars? Maybe you have scars on your body. Maybe a scar from burning yourself in the kitchen that will go away in a few weeks, or maybe a scar that will be with you your whole life. I have a scar on my back from surgery more than 20 years ago. When I first got that scar, my whole back and shoulder were so tight from the scar tissue, I could barely move my shoulder around. Now, that scar is never going to go away. But over the years, I've massaged it and put cream on it, and I've done my PT exercises some of the time. And I have found ways to move with the scar, for my body to move in new ways that hold the scar that won't ever go away. We can do the same thing, I think, with the stories of our country's history, the ones that hold scars, the stories of our family's history that hold scars. We can tell the stories truthfully and fully, and we can create new stories as we go forward, new ways of being, stories of wholeness, of care for the world and for each other, stories in which we fight together against racism, where we create a place where all people are welcome for exactly who they are. I am hoping, as we start our storytelling this morning, that some of our children will come and join Tommy on the chancel. I have two of our children who are going to help us tell a little bit of a different story. Come on up. And then I'm hoping that our other children will be joined by Christina, Christina, who's exactly where she needs to be, and will help to change the picture here of this story. So Christina has some pictures for you as Isaac and Abby join Tommy here and share with us an adaptation of the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving Address. The Haudenosaunee people, also known as the Iroquois Confederacy, up from upstate New York and surrounds, where I am from as well, created a Thanksgiving address which is used to open and to close religious ceremonies and social gatherings, which is taught to children and used as a sunrise prayer, has been for time and time moving back and continues to be taught moving forward. The version that we'll hear from Isaac and Abby and Tommy this morning comes from an adaptation by Chief Jake Swamp, who was born on the Mohawk Reservation, very close to where I grew up, and who shared the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address all around the world and then created an adaptation to make it easy for children to learn and share some of the words and language in that address. So I invite our readers to begin. Tommy, can you adjust that mic? That's perfect. And as they do so, Christina will help you find some pictures, not to cover the scars and pretend they aren't there, but to add beauty to the story that we tell. Who's number one? What are you? You're two. You're number one then, Abby. That's perfect. Right here.
Okay. To be a human being is an honor, and we offer thanksgiving for all the gifts of life.
And then just go right back.
Mother Earth, we thank you for giving us everything we need.
Thank you, deep blue waters around Mother Earth, for you are the force that takes thirst away from all living things.
We give thanks to green grasses that feel so good against our bare feet for the cool beauty you bring to Mother Earth's floor.
Thank you, good foods for Mother Earth, our life sustains, for making us happy when we are hungry.
Fruits and berries, we thank you for your color and sweetness.
We are all thankful to good medicine herbs for healing us when we are sick.
Thank you, all the animals in the world, for keeping our precious forests clean.
All the trees in the world, we are thankful for the shade and warmth you give us.
Thank you, all the birds in the world, for singing your beautiful songs for all to enjoy.
We give thanks to you, gentle four winds, for bringing clean air for us to breathe from the four directions.
Thank you, Grandfather Thunder Beings, for bringing rains to help all living things grow.
Elder Brother Sun, we send thanks for shining your light and warming Mother Earth.
Thank you, Grandmother Moon, for growing full every month to light the darkness for children and sparkling water.
We give you thanks, twinkling stars, for making the night sky so beautiful and for sprinkling morning dewdrops on the plants.
Spirit protectors of our past and present, we thank you for showing us ways to live in peace and harmony with one another.
And most of all, thank you, Great Spirit, for giving us these wonderful gifts so we will be happy and healthy every day and every night.
Thank you so much to our readers and to our helpers for helping to make the story more true and more beautiful. I want to invite you to go back to your seats. Thank you so much, Abby and Isaac. You did a great job. The Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address has in each stanza a repeated line when it is spoken in its fullness. That line invites us, I'm going to make sure I have it exactly right. That line invites us to give thanks to each part of the world and then together to say, now our minds are one. As we hold in our hearts the hard story, the true story, and the possibility of more beautiful stories in our country, I invite you to join in singing, seated as we are, our hymn each week, Spirit of Life, Fuente de Amor.
I'm honored to share my story about Thanksgiving. Somehow, I've only come recently to realize that the first Thanksgiving story that we've been told a million times since childhood is really an immigrant story. The Pilgrims were first-generation immigrants in what is now the United States. I myself am a first-generation immigrant. My parents came to this country searching for economic and educational opportunities to make a better life for their children. They also came for the freedoms and liberties afforded by a democratic nation. But instead of being first generation, I really should be fifth or sixth generation, like many of you out there. In the 1860s, the people of Guangdong, China, who I am descended from, sent many thousands to build railroads through the Sierra Nevada mountains in California. It was extremely dangerous work, and hundreds sacrificed their lives for what they believed was their newly adopted country. But instead of finding a grateful nation once the railroad was completed, the political climate turned on them. That Chinese American immigrant community was harassed, attacked, and deported. Discriminatory laws targeting Chinese American immigrants were passed, including the infamous Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, which ensured that the Chinese American population would be decimated over the next several decades. And so it came to be that nearly 100 years later, my parents and I came to America as first-generation immigrants. We enjoyed a relatively easy journey to America via airplane, but others have had it much, much harder. Growing up, my mom told me stories of her coworkers who were Vietnamese immigrants. One such coworker was escaping Vietnam in a small, crowded boat when pirates boarded and took her daughter from her arms, never to be seen again. Today, migrants all over the world face similar harrowing journeys filled with horror and impossible choices as they escape violence and political instability. Many would label these people as criminals, but I strongly and vehemently disagree. Like everyone else, immigrants in America are searching for the meaning of Thanksgiving. In a country with strange language, culture, and food, Thanksgiving is an easy place to start to learn about the traditions of your new country. For our family, ironically, we found the meaning of Thanksgiving in the food. In Hong Kong, no one had ever even heard of a turkey, much less eaten one. But once here in America, we were determined to become Americans just like everyone else. So my dad went out to buy one of these turkeys that he had heard so much about from his coworkers and learned to cook it. He succeeded by making a beautiful turkey. And in doing so, he discovered another American tradition, which is the national disappointment in the taste and texture of turkey. So in time, the turkey on our table turned into chicken or ham. And of course, our table always had white rice, which is a staple of all Chinese families for thousands of years. Over the years, our Thanksgiving table has changed for the better. We now have people of different races and religions. We have immigrants from different continents all over the world. We have people of different sexual orientations. But today, the political climate is turning against those at our table, against immigrants, against non-Christians, against gays, against women, against democracy. And so once again, we are searching. We are searching for the meaning of Thanksgiving and searching for gratitude in a nation that doesn't seem to appreciate us. The answer is different for everyone. But for myself, I am reminded of the teachings of our yoga instructor, who has taught us the 5 yamas of yoga philosophy. The yamas are rules for right living. In particular, the 3rd yama is called asteya, or non-stealing. Asteya teaches us to be grateful for what we have. It teaches us not to rob ourselves of the fullness of life by focusing only on the positive feelings and ignoring the negative ones. Asteya teaches us to accept both the good and the bad, to step into the darkness and open your eyes. And when you do, the sparks of light all around you become even brighter. One such spark of light, of course, is this congregation, this community based on love, generosity, social justice. Sometimes it's hard to see when you're standing in the light. Completely surrounded by the light, your pupils adjust. But when you move into and embrace the darkness, your pupils open up, and the light from this congregation becomes incredibly bright. And so it is that I am grateful for all of you. Thank you.
Tommy, thank you so much for sharing that story that weaves together our country's history, our world's history, and your own history. I am really grateful for that. I want to invite now you all to do something we don't do that often in church, on Sunday morning at least, which is to be storytellers yourself. You have heard a couple of stories, ones that have more truth to be told, ones that hold scars and beauty. I want to invite you to turn toward each other in groups of 3-ish. I know how you are about following directions. It's okay. 3-ish. And tell a story yourself of Thanksgiving. It could be simply a favorite dish that you like to eat every year, or someone that you are looking forward to seeing around the table this year or remember from years back. It might be a story of your family, one that is hard to hold, a Thanksgiving that held loss, or one that held particular joy. Be mindful, please, of the ages of those gathered in your small group as you share stories so that we can all participate. And if you would like to just listen this morning, then I invite you to say, "I'm just listening this morning." That's perfectly all right. If all 3 of you are just listening this morning, look around for an extrovert. Just bring one in and you'll be fine. We'll talk the whole time. So I invite you now to turn toward each other, especially some people that are new to you, though I heard the choir loved learning from people they see every week, and tell a story this morning. Should have gotten a bell. He's like a bell. I invite you to come back together to finish your stories.
Get to the airport early. Good to see you.
As we turn together toward the front, here we go. Friends, it is so good to share stories together. Why did I not get a bell at the 11:15? I should have learned my lesson at 9:15. I need a chime. I invite you back together this morning as we prepare to take our offering. And I invite you with gratitude for the stories you have begun to share with each other. I hope that those of you watching online shared some stories in the chat and invite you to continue to do so. May we all continue to tell the true stories, the hard stories, the beautiful stories as we move through these weeks together.
I heard a lot of stories about food and feast, and I hope many of you have a table filled with lots of great food this Thanksgiving. But we have a dire situation here in Arlington as food insecurity has exploded. This month's Share the Plate recipient is AFAC, the Arlington Food Assistance Center. AFAC has now distributed groceries to more than 4,000 families in need. That's over 10,000 individuals in a single week. The first time ever hitting this unprecedented milestone for the nonprofit food bank. Not only did the number of weekly family visits break an AFAC record, the count of families being referred for AFAC resources has also hit an all-time high of 6,700 referrals as the urgency for food assistance services has surged. These statistics highlight the critical need for community support during a time when food insecure Arlington residents are relying on AFAC services more than ever. 70% of today's offerings will go directly to AFAC. The other 30% goes into the vital programming that we do here at UUCA. Please give generously. Think about Thanksgiving and all the food that you have at your table and all those who don't have food. There are many ways to give, including cash and check in the plate, or visit uucava.org and click on Donate. And there's also more information in your order of service. Will the ushers please collect the offering? Thank you, singers, I am grateful for you bringing me exactly what I needed this morning. The words for the offering blessing are in your order of service. We bless and receive these gifts, opening our hearts to true generosity. Let us be grateful when we give, be it time, talent, or treasure. Let us be grateful for our needs and the experience of vulnerability. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts to nurture this congregation. Thank you.
I am so grateful for the stories that have been shared today, the ones that all of us heard and the ones that 3-ish people heard. Sometimes I say that you don't need to like your whole family, but you need to know your whole family. You need to know their stories in fullness to understand who they were and who they are, and to understand then who you are and who you are becoming, who you can become. I think that holds true for a person and for a people and for a country and a world. We don't need to like everyone, but we need to know them, to tell the stories with all of their scars and their hurt, all of their beauty and their possibility, so that together we can imagine what it is we could become, which choices we could make differently, how we can build with each other from what is. As we move into this next week that may be full of family or full of friends or full of quiet time, may we move telling the whole story, the true story, the truest version we know. And may we also find and create beauty in those stories. May it be so for all of us. I invite you to join now, rising in body or in spirit, and to sing hymn number 1010 in your teal hymnal. Song
128.
128. We already did that one. I don't know, I like it. You could sing it again. Hymn 128, thank you very much, in your gray hymnal. A hymn that tells us of the full story of our life. Close.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise.
We now extinguish our chalice. The words are in your order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light and warmth it represents. These we carry with us, bringing our sparks of love to the world.
Friends, the hymn we sing and Tommy's yoga teacher and centuries of yogic tradition tell us the same thing: to hold the whole story, all that is our life. May you tell stories of scars and of beauty. May you make one from the other. May it be so.